Hi, I'm Emma from Unique Phoenix. I'm a transformation coach, healer, speaker, author, and an unapologetic, curious soul. Connected Conversations is here to bring love, healing, and connection to our everyday life through open and authentic conversations. Every conversation, I am privileged to interview women and men in our community that are here being their authentic selves, sharing their unique and wonderful talents with the world around them. I'm going to let them introduce themselves and then we can get to know them better and what they offer through this connected conversation. Stay with us.
Sandra. Initially, I trained as a massage therapist, learning techniques to help relieve stress and tension from the body. And over the years, I've studied many modalities, and now I predominantly support women to feel a lot more relaxed and grounded and being able to tap into their body's own innate wisdom so that they can listen to the guidance it's giving them and then live a life that really serves them well.
Hi, and welcome to Connected Conversations. We're connecting through Zoom today because this is the way of the world and where we're at. And I absolutely love this technology to be able to do it this way. The purpose of Connected Conversations is to bring healing, love, and connection to our everyday lives with open and authentic conversations. And today I am incredibly honoured and excited to be joined by Sandra Reiser. And I can't pronounce your married surname, so I'm going to let you do that in a second. She is absolutely a gifted massage therapist, healer, and wellness leader, really, in the work that you do within your other work. That's amazing. And through her business, Balanced and Centered, she offers healing energy, like amazing. And it's combined with massage and separate to it. And I'll share my experience in a moment in her wonderful, unique way. Honestly, I have never had a massage like that, and I'm actually booked in soon to come and see you. So I'm getting that done. I was actually on my walk this morning and said to myself, "I really need a massage." I totally forgotten that I done. I went, "Oh, I'm booked in." I've done that. I went to Sandra knowing that the healing, the energy healing that you do, and knowing the massage work that you do. Finally got my shit together and got over to see you, and honestly, it was. And Sandra said, "What do you want?" And I went, "Just do what you like. You just go for it." And it was such a profound experience for me. The release that I got from it was incredible, and the continued healing that I felt from it was incredible as well. And it was just an experience like no other. And I've gone to energy healing massage therapists before years ago, and the power in your hands is incredible. So thank you for sharing your beautiful time and energy with us today and sharing your gifts and your knowledge. And we're going to be talking about all things healing and gratitude, because I know how, like, just weaved gratitude is weaved into everything that you do, and it just oozes from you. So I actually want to know, how did you get into massage?
Well, before I start that conversation,
Yeah.
let me just say thank
Yeah.
you so much because I'm really glad, really honoured to be here. It's really lovely to see you.
Yeah.
It would have been really lovely to see you in the flesh, but next time.
Absolutely. And there'll definitely be next time, because the breadth of what as with any connected conversation I have, I'm really just touching on such a small part of the wide work that you do. But it's really to help our audiences just be able to focus on this today, because we can get so trying to focus on everything. So
Yeah.
I love that with connected conversations, because we can bring in your knowledge in such a deep way to allow our watchers, our viewers, that time to lean into their own energy healing and their own gratitude as well.
Yeah. Thanks, Sandra.
Yay! So yeah, how did you get into massage?
Okay. It's when I think back on it now, I think it was destiny really, because when I finished, I must have been in my mid-20s. I think I was 25. I was 25, and a bunch of girlfriends that I'd grown up with and went to school with. We went on a holiday to Perth because I had a girlfriend that was travelling around Australia in a bus with her partner, and they happened to be in Perth. So all 5 of us jumped on a plane and went to Perth. And my friend Michelle was studying an 8-week massage course. She needed someone to be her body for her exam. And she chose me because I was the last woman. I was the only woman that was going to be there when her exam was. All the others had gone home on different days, right?
Oh.
I know, it's crazy. So I went along and was her body for this whole session. I'd never had a massage like this before. No, I'd never had a full body massage. And this was back in the early to mid 90s. So that massage really wasn't mainstream at all, not at all. But I really loved the experience. And I remember lying on the bed thinking, I could do this. So at the end of the class, I actually spoke to the teacher who was delivering the course, and I said, I'm really interested to learn about this. Do you know of anyone who teaches it in Melbourne? And she said, funnily enough, she said, my sister. So her sister. So I made inquiries with her sister, who had a school in Hawthorn, and I signed up. I did a 12-month course. I think I can't remember but it was 12 months part-time in the evenings. I think I went a couple of times a week for 12 months, and I learned massage, aromatherapy, a little bit of reflexology, a little bit of shiatsu, a whole range of things. But it was just the beginning of just an area that fascinated me, and I loved it. And I've just loved it ever since, I never get sick of it.
It's so funny you say that, because in every single connected conversation, that's 100% the reason that anyone gets into a field where you are of service.
Yeah.
And you are of healing service in particular, is because you have a deep love for it. And it's, those people I often find that are the most powerful in what they do. And, obviously I've seen you and I can attest to it, and I've booked it again. So I'll come back for more. That's a really interesting thing that you spoke about, though. I do want to touch on that you'd never had a full body massage before. And I know we're similar ages, and I was back in the 90s as well, in my 20s. Was I? Yeah, I would have been in my 20s sometime there. And I must admit, when I had my first massage, I got a whole range of pretty gross comments from some of the people around me at work that were like, "Ooh, what did they do?" Like it was something dirty. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
So it was really interesting. So even today, I know people that, so I want to ask you, what would hold people back from getting a massage?
I think sometimes you think about it, massage is all about touch, right? And connecting with another person, and it's human touch. Some people are uncomfortable being touched. And some people, because there's a vulnerability, you need to get undressed, right? You need to get undressed in most cases. You can do massage over your clothes, because I can do a Thai massage, which is over clothes, but it's still that connection, and there's a sense of vulnerability with it. People have issues in regard to their bodies, whether it's as simple as I haven't shaved my legs, or I don't like my legs. It could be, I think those are the two key things. And being able to really let yourself go and just focus on relaxing and dropping into the table. Because you think about it, we are so much in our heads more than ever, right? So to actually get yourself on a table and to allow your body to just drop and relax, it doesn't just happen. It's a practice, because you have to unlearn everything that you've been taught. And a lot of people hold on to all of that stuff. So I think they're the reasons that I can think that would stop people from coming. Fear of the unknown. So sorry, but not feeling safe. You know, you're not feel. I've had massages in the past. I was working away, and I went to a hotel, and a man massaged me, and whilst I was on the table on my back, right, he was massaging around my chest. His phone rang, and he picked it up and answered the phone. So there I was with my boobs out while he's on the phone. I've had massages where they've just massaged with one hand, as if they would, you can tell when there's no love in it and there's no care in it. So it's a different experience. So the main thing, people really need to feel safe and comfortable, and that they can, if they do start to relax and drop, that they're going to be safe.
Look, I 100% agree with you, because I stopped going to get massages because of the feedback that I had. And at the time, I must admit, I was in an abusive relationship, so I wasn't at all accepted. Like, he thought I'd gone for something else, and that was a whole weekend of torment, I'm going to tell you. So I can appreciate that. And oh God, is it not speaking so deeply into healing and worthiness? Like, I just think that's such an incredible segue, because part of allowing yourself to be that vulnerable is the worthiness of saying, look, I deserve this. And I've got to say to you, once I step back into getting massages and, step back into, and that's what it is. We're stepping back into worthiness, aren't we?
Yeah.
Because
self-love, self-care.
Do you know what? And then let's go a bit deeper. Let's talk about trust, because I've never had an experience like that. I want to say, Sandra, like, I've always been led instinctively to people for body work and for healing. And so for me, I've only stepped out of one experience where I was like, huh? Are they in it for the right reason? So, I had that moment, but it just speaks volumes about, like, people being able to trust. But I've got to say, though, I mean, the environment that you create, it's so welcoming, and such a unique experience in the way that you welcome people in the way that you gently do it. Like, I mean, I've had experiences like get on the table and get it done, but that's not how you do it. It's a transition. You transition people to your table, and that is phenomenal that you do that. So I want to say thank you for allowing yourself to trust yourself so deeply to know that that is the way and the best way to do it. But you've seen me come in, I'm like, I'm ready to go, get my gear off, let's get on the table. What else do you need? Like,
I know, and that's so wonderful too, because I think when people, how you say it, the transition, that is exactly it. It's a transition. You don't just get on the table. I want you to feel safe, so you can go, energetically you can feel safe. You might not recognize it up here, but energetically you will start to feel safe. And the safety part is paramount, and the more that you can feel safe, the better my work is, because it's an exchange. It is an exchange. And people that come and say, yep, I'll give you permission to do whatever you want, well, that's like the golden ticket for me. It really is.
Have at it. It's pretty much what you do. What you need to. You just feel your way through it, and I will receive.
Yes, because then I know that's okay. I've got greater permission to trust exactly what's coming through to me and to do whatever I need to. And, you
Mm.
know, I'll tell you a story. I had a woman come to me every fortnight for about 12 months after her partner passed away from cancer, and she would come for the nurturing support. And one of the first or second massages, she said to me, Sandra, you have my permission to do whatever you want. She said, if you feel you just need to put your hands on my body for an hour, she said, you just do that. And it was like, it just opened up something else inside of me, that it was okay for me to really tap into myself and to trust what I was doing. And there was no expectation that I had to spend 10 minutes on a leg or 4 strokes here and that kind of stuff, that I could actually tap into that innate wisdom of my own and use all the skills that I have to provide the service and the healing that that woman required at that time. And I think that's been really transformative for me, just being able to trust it and to allow it to happen.
Yeah, and you know, I from my own experience with you, and I do remember afterwards you were saying, "I've never done that like that before," and I
Right.
went, "Well, great," because I gave you that full permission, and I must admit the healing that went on, the release that I had. I mean, I cried at one point, and then had to hop into a fetal position afterwards and just lay there to absorb it all, to allow it to all sort of settle, because that was a huge energy
Mm,
shift and release through my time with you, our session. So
I
yeah, and
remember.
I remember you saying afterwards, you're like, I've not done all that before, and I'm like, you keep doing that. That was gold. Like, you do that. And I would imagine, and it's like my work as well, that's who I attract in, people that are like ready to do the work. Because if they might be in some resistance, but for me to do the work that I can do with someone, and it's powerful, you know, like I just had a first session with someone yesterday. My God, like the transition she's already making is because she's ready,
Yeah,
ready. And, you know, and you would find the same thing when someone's on your table and they're ready, the after effect and the energy shift, it's
it's
amazing.
amazing.
And so that's the healing that you can provide and that you do offer through massage. But you've transitioned not just from massage, but into energy healing. So, like, talk us through that.
Ooh, I will. So I've studied lots of massage modalities and I love it. But I remember years ago, so there's a little bit of a backstory. So when I did my first massage course, I was married at the time, and my husband was anti anything to do with massage. And actually, it was probably one of the reasons that our marriage didn't survive. Um, and he didn't encourage me to massage, and certainly didn't encourage me to massage men. So after our marriage ended, I went and lived in London for about 9 years. And I got myself a part-time job. I was massaging in a club, and it was awesome. I would go there every Saturday and massage, and I had some really interesting experiences, particularly with this one guy. I used to massage his back, and I remember it was almost as if I'd had an out-of-body experience, and he'd had some issues around his shoulders, but I was guided to go and work on his lower back. And as I did, all of the tension and discomfort it just went, Emma. It was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. And so I knew that there was more to it. I knew that there was an energy involved in it. And, you know, I've studied Reiki and other energy forms over the years. But over the last couple of years, I knew that I wanted to do something more in that space. And that's how I came across Julie Lewin. So Julie's a medical
Mm.
intuitive, and you're familiar with her work. But for those who aren't, Julie's had a lifetime of medical intuitive experience. So she can basically She doesn't even need to put her hands on you. She can just tap into your energy body and determine where the energy blockages are. Because the energy blockages, as you and I know, are the ones that cause illness and disease. If you don't clear the energy, that's where you get stuck. It can prevent you from moving forward. It can cause sickness. It can cause disease. It can cause a whole range of things. And so I was fortunate enough to spend, I reckon I spent 2 years as an apprentice with her. And I learned, although I'm not a medical intuitive, I learned her healing techniques. And that's what I did with you that day in conjunction with massage. And it's really powerful. It's if I could try and explain it, it's like you're working in a holographic space. So you have your physical body and you have your energetical body, but you can operate from a holographic space and do the energy healing work there, and it transforms back or translates back into your physical body, and that's where the shifts happen. And so I learned techniques for, you know, if you've come across this, and this, then you can do this technique because that will help release that energy. And it's been amazing. I mean, I use it pretty much every week, every single week.
Yeah, I have learned energy modalities as well, and I'm always, I call it raking the shit out of things. But like you, you've certainly brought that in and used it in your unique way, which I absolutely love. And I can get that as well when I channel and I've got someone on my table. It's no different for me. Like, I channel it. But what I love about what you've said is it's not just shifting the energy in the body, because that's one part of it. There's also, okay, now you can do this. Here's a practice that you've got, like, and you know, so that people can do it. Because without the action with energy healing, that energy can attract back to you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and I say that to clients a lot when I've got them on my table. Here's what I'm channeling down. Here's some actions for you to take if you want this to shift and to keep moving, because it can easily come on back. It'll come back around. If you've not made any changes in your life, that energy goes, oh, I know you.
It comes back, absolutely.
I'll come back in because I know you. I'm very familiar.
Yeah.
But when you've made the changes and it comes back around, it's like, I don't know this energy now. I don't know what this is. So this isn't for me. Off I go. Yeah, and absolutely you did do that with me on that day. That was incredibly powerful. But again, I was doing the work. I was doing the work around, I was doing the mental work, I was doing the emotional work. And so that energy's never come back around to me. Like, it just, which is beautiful.
You were open and you were ready to let it go. And I think that makes a huge difference, you know. I mean, I've had a session with you, one of your, I don't know if I'm going to say the Palawa, is that how you say it? Palawa? That was an amazing session. I could feel it. I know we did it remotely. I could feel it as soon as you started, and it was a beautiful healing. So thank you.
Yeah, and again, you were open to it. So then it's completely powerful. And I must admit, I was pouring out that day. Like, I've had other clients on the table or remotely, and those that are resistant, it's still there. It just takes a lot longer to unravel. But those that are open, and you would know, woo! Like, it is so powerful. And, you know, my next question to you is, what is energy healing? But you kind of explained what you do, you know, and you know, I've known you for a long time now and seen this emerge from within you. Look, and my greatest gift in life is that I have a gift of insight. So the moment that I met you, I knew how powerful you were. And I knew how powerfully intuitive you were. And I probably said to you over the time, you got to back yourself, lady, or, you know, just you got it. Like, you know, because I knew, like, I could see it, but it's not my job to tell people. Like, that's not okay. But I love it. It's like I have this little X-ray vision into your, like, this is who you are.
No, it's interesting that you say that, Emma, because I think my self-confidence has been one of the things that's really held me back. And it was a few years ago, I went to an event run by Luann, and she got me up on stage. I'd asked a question and I thought, she's going to get me up on stage because
Look at what you manifested. Look at what you
put your question on
manifested.
the paper, and she called me up and I was like, OMG, I'm going to die. But actually I didn't. It was like, oh, this is where I'm meant to be, because I've been so frightened for so many years about being seen and being judged and The more I do it, I think, hell yeah, I love this stuff. Like, why wouldn't I do it? And why wouldn't I just give myself permission to be the full expression of myself?
Ah, and continually lean into being the full expression of yourself. And really,
Yes.
that's, God, how much does energy healing and shifting and changing that, and adding gratitude, we're going to get to that one soon, but I do want to ask you this.
Yeah.
So how has this shift impacted your clients? Because I think I've watched you emerge and I have seen that you come more and more into your own, and we've come more and more into our own and our journeys together, which is amazing. I love that. So
Yeah.
how has that impacted your clients?
Well, that's a good question. I know the feedback that I receive from them, they feel amazing for days afterwards. They feel a lot more grounded, they're calmer, they sleep better. And as I mentioned earlier, they're able to listen to what's going on in their body. So because this stops this constant little chit chatter of their monkey mind, so they're able to have the confidence potentially to go out and search for another job. So it makes life changes, because they're feeling better from the inside. It's like a ripple effect that vibrates outside, doesn't it? So it attracts different
Yes.
things. It attracts things that are in line with that energy vibration. So changing jobs. I had one male client who changed a relationship. He had quite a significant job, but he was able to manage the pressures of that job a lot better, and his sleeping was a lot better. He was probably sleeping 3 hours and 4 hours a night, and then got solid sleep. So there's a multitude of ways, really.
Yeah. How's it changed you?
Oh, I feel people say that I'm really calm and that I have a really nice calming energy. And I think if you'd known me 25 years ago, I couldn't have said the same thing. I mean, I know that's a long time, and I've done a lot of work on myself, but I feel solid, and I have a real sense of knowing about who I am and what I have to offer. And I'm very comfortable with that now. I don't feel that I don't need to be anything other than who I am. And I'm okay if I'm not the loudest person in the room. I don't need to be. And I'm okay if I'm the quietest person in the room,
I
and I
love
make
that.
decisions based on what I know feels right for me. And I can
Yeah.
stand in the truth of that now, which for me is awesome, because I am a reformed people pleaser, you know? Yeah. So I can
Yes.
stand in the truth of who I am and be comfortable with whatever comes my way, because I know I'm honoring myself.
I love that. I love that. Giving yourself permission to be, it's
Yep.
okay to be the quietest person in the room,
Yeah.
and it's okay to be the loudest. I mean, I'm at the opposite scale. I had to give myself permission to be the loudest.
Yeah. And you're wonderful at it.
But like,
It's who you are.
like your messaging that you received, it's not okay to be loud, and what you did
Yeah.
with it. And I was the same. Like, it wasn't
Yeah.
okay. Um, oh, I don't need to be. It's and we go through that proving of. But oh God, I absolutely understand that transformation in life, and I'm sure so many people watching out there will be sitting there listening at the very least, thinking, "Oh yeah, wow," or have you given yourself permission to
Mm.
be who you need to be in the moment that you need to be it? Sometimes you need to be still and quiet, and
Yeah,
sometimes
absolutely.
that's all part of healing. That's all part of And it's not even, it's almost like I look at it like healing the layers. It's not our soul. That's pure. That's divine. We don't need to heal that. You are whole and you
Yes.
are pure, and there's no healing that needs to take place at a soul level.
Yeah.
However, the layers that are around it, the
Yeah.
layers that we've put over it, the mental layers, the energetic, physical layers, we
Yeah,
need to
the
heal that.
protection, the programming, or whatever you want to call it, you're absolutely right. It's the layers that need to be released
Yeah.
and coming back. Yeah.
Not to Chewbacca, but to home.
Seriously, I am going to find myself one of those t-shirts because I love it.
Yeah, for those, if we're on a podcast right now, I'm wearing a Chewbacca t-shirt. And if I find one, Sandra, in the meantime, I'll just get one for you and then I'll ship it off to you.
Thank you.
Next time I get a Star Wars t-shirt that's like this, if it's an Ewok or a Chewbacca, I'll hook you up,
Oh,
sister.
awesome. Thank you. I'd love it.
So, and you know what? I think that's a great segue into gratitude, because honestly, it is the simplest things in life. So I want to know what gratitude is to you.
Gosh, what's gratitude to me? I think if I break it down at its simplest form, I think it's just about being alive, isn't it? Really, I mean, I can say I'm grateful for I've got a roof over my head. I'm grateful that you know, I'm in a relationship, blah blah. But I think it's just living being very present and living in the moment. That's when real gratitude comes in, because you're not thinking about what you've got to do in the next 10 minutes or what's going to happen tomorrow or what if this happens next year. It's not the story. It's just about really being present, because when you're present, then you are actually really appreciating what's happening at this particular moment in time.
Ah, 100%. And it
Yeah.
just transforms moments. I mean,
Yeah.
the simple act of me choosing to put on a t-shirt like this today, I mean, I'm grateful for it because I love the little joy bubbles that it brings for me and the fun.
Yeah.
And if I go out in public, I can't tell you how many times I've been walking around and I've walked past someone like, great t-shirt. And so I know that they've had a joyful moment of, man, that was cool. Like, she's wearing a Chewbacca t-shirt. And for me, I'm like, yeah, I am. Like, I'm wearing that. It's not about the physicality of it, but it's about that exchange of energy and that connection to
Yes.
another soul as well. So yeah, I mean, look, it does. It definitely grounds you. That's part of gratitude. It grounds you into the present moment and then allows you to transform it. And we mentioned it before, like then it shifts what you're attracting to you. You know, because
Yes.
being the simplest of gratitudes, like, oh God, grateful for Zoom, grateful for the technology that I have to record all of this and to, put it on the different mediums that we can put it on, whether it's, via, video and putting that out there, or whether it's via just voice only podcasts, like all that kind of stuff. It's absolutely transformational. And so then if we're talking about business, and how's it weaved through your business?
Gratitude weave through my business. Well, I am very grateful, that I have people that want to come and see me, that resonate with my work, and that actually it's even more than that, that they get benefit from it. So I'm really grateful that I have been given a skill or a gift that I can use to be in service to others. Right? For me, that's just awesome. But the flip side of that is that it's actually of benefit to other people, and they say, oh, they can feel the benefits, and it's tangible, and it makes a difference in their lives. So there's two parts to it, isn't it? There's the part that I get, but it's also the part that they get. And I think it's nice I like the fact that it's both of them. And I don't know that one is necessarily more important than the other, although the purpose of serving is to serve others, right? But I can't do it unless I can embrace what I've got and be grateful for the gift that I've got. It's almost
Mm.
like no, it's not a yin and a yang, but it's a balance. That's how I see it, as a balance.
Oh, absolutely, it's an exchange, 100%. And I
Mm,
think, no, I know when you're in service to yourself, and that means honoring yourself. And I learned a new term over the past few weeks, receiving yourself fully. So
mm,
receiving your own gifts and honoring them, then they can absolutely be shared so much more fully and received by the other so much more
yes.
fully, because there's a just an honesty and a transparency in the way that you're sharing it. And when you own what you do, like, people are like, okay, well, I'm going to take it because wow, this is and so it's the same for you when you've got someone on your table. You can feel that deep sense of service from you. And like I said, you transition people
Mm,
into their session with you. It's not just, okay, I'll wait over here and you get unchanged and hop on the table. And there, like, please go and experience it with Sandra, because it is absolutely phenomenal. And just that experience and that in that transition alone, once you're on the table, like for me, I show up like, here I am, this is what's happening. But that's a practice that I've created, and I've done the work around that to be able to have that full amount of worthiness to as much as I can experience right now in my life. I've
yeah,
I've done the hard
you've
work, as
done
I
the
know
work.
you do
Yep,
it too.
yep.
Um, so then I want to say to you and ask you this: what does gratitude? Do you have a practice of gratitude in your life? Like, is there something that you actually do, as or have you done in the past, and it's just become so ingrained you do it now? Like, what is it? What's your practice?
Look, I do speak in my head what I'm grateful for, and what's come over these last 18 months, and I think, oh, what the situation, that's really crap. I'm able to flip it and go, oh, but this is happening. Oh, that's crap. Oh, but this is happening, and I can see that. I do have a daily practice of just being great, or reminding myself or thinking about the things that I am grateful for in my life. I also, have you ever read any of Abraham Hicks's books?
Yeah, yeah.
So I read, I don't think I brought it in with me, but I read one of Abraham's books, and there was a practice in there about having creating yourself a bank account and creating yourself a checkbook. I did it, right? So every day, so for 30, you're supposed to do it for 30 days. You have a bank deposit book and you put $1,000 in on day one, but you also had to spend $1,000. Right. And I made myself up these beautiful little checks with Canva, and I wrote out a check. So I bought a new fridge or something. So I spent $1,000. The next day I deposited 2,000 and I had to spend 2,000. The next day, 3,000, had to spend 3,000, right? Went on and on and on. At the end of 31 days, I had to deposit $31,000 into my account and spend $31,000, right? And it didn't have to be a lump sum. It could have been a multitude of things adding up to $31,000. Do you know how tricky that becomes? Like,
Oh, yeah.
and you think about, though, but it was about being grateful that you had the money, being grateful that you could spend it, and then that whole sense of abundance that went around it. Like
Mm.
I carried on for about 60 days, and I paid off my mortgage, I paid off this, I bought a whole bunch of stuff, right? But it was awesome. So it made me not only feel grateful that I had the money, it made me feel abundant, but it made a real shift in my energy as well,
Yeah.
because I was feeling like, well, there was nothing, anything is possible. And that, I got that. I actually say that a lot in my mind when I feel stuck or feel challenged is, but anything's possible and you don't know what's going to happen.
Yes. Oh, look, coming from an ex-control freak, me, that's been a challenge over the time to
Yeah.
go, well, anything's possible, but how? Because that's the
Yep.
control wants to know
Yep.
how. Okay, all right, well, sure, anything's possible. I can believe that, but
Yes.
how is it
Oh,
possible? And
yeah.
so getting rid of the how side of it, that's a beautiful practice. So it's just essentially making up a checkbook, or whether you've got one lying around that you haven't used. And really, if anyone happens to find it, want to deposit one, good luck. But you know, like make one up. I love what you've done, gone into Canva and made it up. So have a fakie on it, and I'm sure you could just download it from the internet, and there's plenty of these around.
Yeah.
And then writing it out. Did you write it up in a book? Is in terms of what that like depositing it? Is that what it looked like for you? Was
Yeah,
it like
like a bank deposit book, put in, and then I would put in what I took out and what I spent it on. And the reason I created the checks in Canva is because I made them pretty. So made
yeah.
myself a personalized little checkbook. And
Ah, so you could go and get like a ledger, you know, like from Officeworks or from a stationery store and get yourself like a little ledger book where you can write up, I've deposited
yeah,
this and then I've spent this. So
yeah.
have the two. Oh, I see that.
I'll share
What
the
a,
practice with you if you want. I'll take a photo of it and I'll share it. And if you want to share it with the others, you can, because it was fun. I guess you're being
yeah.
creative too. And we all know when you're being creative, that's when your intuition opens up, and that's when your mind stops going. So it was so multi-layered. The practice was just wonderful. And I haven't done
Yeah.
it for about a month, and I was like, gee whiz, like I'm up to over $50,000 every day. Like, so every day goes up by $1,000, and you think another month, I was like, what am I going to spend all this money on?
Yeah.
You know?
Oh man, I've got some good ideas. Man, there's some projects that can, woo, imagine all that.
Exactly.
But I look, I love that. What a great practice. I've never heard of that before.
I'll
So,
share it with
yeah,
you.
if you share me the photo, then I can just type it up in the blurb that's underneath this so that people can have a look at that and decide for themselves what they want to
Yeah.
do. But I love that because there are so many different gratitude practices. And you know what? I actually took my gratitude for granted up until recently. Like I am, and I have moments, but I found myself going, I actually need to do something physical
Mm,
about this because I can talk all I want in my head, but
yeah.
is that integrating into my body? Is that integrating energetically? Is that, you know, shifting what I need? So I actually went back to that practice of writing down my gratitude every day. And my practice is writing in at minimum 3 things, whether you want to do it in the morning or at night. And then, so if you've done it in the morning, at night, writing down one more, like always adding. So if you've done it at night, then get up in the morning and then you write down one more in the morning so that you're adding to it for that day, for
Yeah,
that particular
agree.
practice. And then at the end of it, I always write, I'm grateful for this and so much more, because
Yeah.
there's always more to be grateful for. So,
Mm,
and I must admit, that's really energetically like helped me shift some stuff, which has
it
been,
really does.
oh, but I love that practice. So yeah, I'll take that photo and I'll type it up and it's below now, so that you can copy paste it, try it on for yourself. And hopefully that really brings in, because particularly when people don't feel abundant, I think that's an amazing practice to, uh, yeah, to help them just to see the possibilities and to get
Yeah,
out of their heads.
absolutely. Create some spaciousness. I mean, you think kids can do it. Like, you can make it fun. Kids could do it with, I don't know, $10. Start with $10 and $11 and $12. Just get them to
I love that.
think expansive. That's what we
I
need.
love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we often think, or I did anyway, being an ex-control freak, how, and gratitude really did get me out of the how. Like it got
Yeah.
me into the now, which is really good. Oh, that even rhymes. I didn't realize that. But it did. It got me out of that how, and just got me back into what's happening now. And it was a complete reframe as well. But I think that's amazing. You're so right. You can do this with kids as well, because one, it gives them
Mhm.
a sense of money, and two, it also gives them a sense of, what can you do with it? Because once they get to a certain amount, they're also going to get bored of toys and da 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 and da da, like,
Exactly.
because it gets beyond that. And,
It
my
does.
brain automatically, when you started talking about, well, if you're talking about 50 grand, then, oh my God, like, then, there's my big vision. I could pour into that and pour into the community around me. And
Exactly.
that would be phenomenal, to be able to build up a community and, yeah, sustainable communities, yeah, that support each other from within. Now
Mm.
that is
Yeah.
a much different topic. That would be amazing to have as a connected conversation, perhaps between a few of us, I think. Yeah, around community. I think that would be amazing to do
Yeah,
that.
absolutely.
So What how because I know when I left, I did have an enormous sense of gratitude, and I was calm, and I felt a release. And you do some work. Is there a course that you run? Is that part of what you do? Can we speak a little bit about that? I know it's off topic, but I do.
Yes, yep. Yes, we can. So interestingly enough, the energy healing work that I learned, Arakira, um, I I offer that as a guided visualization every Tuesday to a corporate organisation, and I spoke to them about a mindfulness program that I thought they might be interested in,
Mm,
and basically it incorporates. It's well, the way I can explain it, it was an opportunity for people to step away from the work environment, come into a place, no technology. Um, they learned tools and practical techniques that they could implement into their lives so that they could feel a greater sense of connection into their bodies, right? Because we're
mm,
always, we're looking, particularly that we've become so computer focused, Zooms, Teams, all that kind of stuff. Everything is fast paced, and if it's going to be more than 2 minutes, sometimes people don't want to pay attention to it. So I created a program that takes you away from that environment. We were all in circle, and we went back to basics. Everyone had a journal. I didn't give handout notes. Like, there was no PowerPoint presentations. There was none of that stuff. We had coloured pens. We had little bits that I found that were relevant to the topic that we were discussing. And we met every week for 6 weeks, and I took them through not just meditation, but some simple techniques to help them. What do I feel about? Like, how does my body feel when this happens? What does joy feel like inside my body? What does the energy of joy feel like? How do I know when my body's saying, energetically saying no to something and saying yes to something? What do boundaries feel like? How can I create an energetic boundary that's expansive? And what does it feel like when it's contracted?
yeah.
Because my belief is that we are very disconnected from what's going on inside of our bodies. And we need, as a collective, and I know because I've done this myself, the more connected I am to my body, the more I know what feels right for me, which gives me comfort to know that I'm walking in my truth. So
You can
we're
trust your choices. You just
absolutely.
trust your steps that you're
You
taking,
just
100%.
trust it. You don't need to know the how, as you were saying before, because you just need to trust. So it was really about bringing people together and creating a really safe container, holding space. We talked about holding space and those kind of things, bringing it back to basics. And it was phenomenal because we went from face to face to having to do the last couple of sessions over Teams because of the lockdown. But it was so successful that they actually want to run it again next year.
Perfect. Oh,
Yeah,
great. I'm so happy to hear that because I heard that you were doing it, and when you mentioned it, I thought that's so bang on. It's so, um,
powerful, so simple, but so powerful. Once we realize actually all the answers are in here.
yeah, and
They're all
once we take
here.
away the I mean, you know the work that I do, and I'm
Yes,
moving into working with businesses as well around
awesome.
emotional intelligence and value
Yes,
based, and getting some well-being into workplaces, which is exactly what you're talking about.
yeah,
Because if we're connected to our bodies and listening, just listening to what it's telling
yeah,
us instead of what our head is, because let's
yeah,
face it, our brain is
yeah.
full of shit a lot of the time.
Yeah, most of
uh,
the time.
well, I mean, really, all of the time. It's not good to listen to it all the time, in terms of making choices that are about us.
Yeah,
Hey, do I go in that direction and I need to step up there? And where's north? Great, use it for function. But our bodies are actually a really great compass. And
absolutely.
yeah, and I love the more people we can get out there doing this, the better. So I love hearing that that's running again. That is I'm so happy.
Yeah,
Like, I'm like, "Woo,
yeah,
celebrate.
yeah.
Yeah."
Exciting, isn't it? I love it too. You know, the feedback was really incredible, and it made some really positive shifts, you know, but it also brought a group together. In this organization, there's 600 people. There were 14 people, and they didn't really know each other, but they created a bond. And they said it was just, or that was one of the favorite things of their week, knowing that they were coming into this circle where we shut out the world and we just focus on ourselves. And I mean, who doesn't love colouring in and doing, creative stuff, you know? Simple
Mm.
stuff like we did when we were kids.
Yeah, and that's it. Just keep bringing it back to what you need
Yeah,
and shutting off the world every now and again.
yeah,
And, yeah, the simplicity of, what we both teach is, beyond. Like, I often don't have the word for it, which I think is probably a great thing, to not have the
yeah.
words around to describe it fully, because it really is so simple in the practices, and it brings it down to a really human and soul level, that you don't need a lot of words. You just need to practice and create, take the complications out, because it's a
Yeah.
complex world
Oh, yes.
that doesn't need to be complicated within us.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I love it. I love the work that you do, all of it. I'm so happy that you're getting out into the world, and people are more and more sharing in your gifts, and just energetically being around you, Sandra, because the impact that you have is, just by being you in a situation, is amazing.
Oh,
So
thank you.
how do we get in contact with you? Where are we going to find you?
Okay, so I have a website in progress, which
Yeah,
is, yeah,
that's
so that's
okay.
no
So where do we
website
find
as
you
yet.
now? Because I'll pop the links. The links are below as well, so
Yes,
you can click on that and
awesome.
go and find.
Facebook, you'll find me under Balanced and Centered, and the same
Beautiful.
with Instagram.
Okay, beautiful.
All
So,
my details are in
those
there.
links are below, so you can shoot a message through to Sandra and connect with her, and
Yeah,
book. Absolutely, I know that you can book. I book through Facebook, so I loved that. I was just able to book my massage
great.
time with you, so I just did all that. Loved that.
Yeah, no, thank
Um,
you.
and yeah, Instagram, you can just message anyway and get to you. Oh, what a delight it has been. What a beautiful conversation that we've had. And thank you so
Likewise.
much for sharing your wealth and breadth of knowledge and gifts into the world and with us today. So that is
Yeah,
absolutely
thank you,
amazing.
Emma. It was lovely. I've really enjoyed it. It's always wonderful to see you.
I know, love sharing time with you. You're probably hearing a toot in the background. Got a delivery driver who's very loud.
That was
Always good.
confirmation.
I know. Toot toot.
Toot-toot.
Thank you everyone for sharing your beautiful time and with Sandra today. I hope you've enjoyed, and perhaps you're a little bit more curious about energy healing and gratitude in your life. He's just done it, so that's good. Yeah, I hope that you've perhaps been encouraged to go and see Sandra, and to perhaps step a bit more into your worthiness, to know you are worthy looking after. And massage and energy healing is a really beautiful and nurturing way to honor yourself and the fact that you do need to be looked after, and it's not just a solo mission in life. So I absolutely would highly recommend connecting with Sandra and book your time with her. It is a phenomenal experience. Thank you, beautifuls, and we'll see you next time on